Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true. I found I had less and less to say, until finally, I became silent, and began to listen. I discovered in the silence, the voice of God. It is better to try something and fail than to try nothing and succeed. The result may be the same, but you won't be. We always grow more through defeats than victories. People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought which they seldom use. The most common form of despair is not being who you are. Christ was crucified because he would have nothing to do with the crowd, even though he addressed himself to all. He did not want to form a party, an interest group, a mass movement, but wanted to be what he was, the truth. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. Above all, do not lose your desire to walk. Every day, I walk myself into a state of well-being and walk away from every illness. I have walked myself into my best thoughts, and I know of no thought so burdensome that one cannot walk away from it. People settle for a level of despair they can tolerate and call it happiness. Take a chance and you may lose. Take not a chance and you have lost already. The Bible is very easy to understand. But we Christians are a bunch of scheming swindlers. We pretend to be unable to understand it because we know very well that the minute we understand, we are obliged to act accordingly. The minority is always stronger than the majority, because the minority is generally formed by those who really have an opinion. Who am I? How did I come into the world? Why was I not consulted? Are you not aware that there comes a midnight hour when everyone must unmask? The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays. The unhappy person is never present to themselves because they always live in the past or the future. It is the duty of the human understanding to understand that there are things which it cannot understand. Do it or don't do it, you will regret both. The more people who believe something, the more apt it is to be wrong. The person who's right often has to stand alone. Our life always expresses the result of our dominant thoughts. The tyrant dies and his rule is over. The martyr dies and his rule begins. The question is not to be or not to be, it is what we should be until we are not. I'm so misunderstood that people misunderstand me even when I tell them I'm misunderstood. The thing that cowardice fears most is decision. Which quote did you like the most? Share your perspective in the remarks. One day you will lament that you don't hear these quotes prior. Grab the opportunity. Watch our next video.